Hey guys, Jurassic here, and today we're going to be doing a review of the very first of this series, the Jurassic World Battle Damage Pachycepholosaurus. Now, for some odd reason, Mattel decided to do a battle damage line. Apparently one of the praise for some of the toys was to have dino damage that actually worked like dino damage, instead of being permanent to the dinosaur itself. So what Mattel did is that they managed to copy one of Hasbro's pretty good idea for dino damage and implement it on a series. Not just all of them, but just on some of them. But anyways, here it is. The Battle Damage series. Instead of calling it Dino Damage, which I'm pretty sure they don't have the license to since that was a Kenner thing, they decided to use Battle Damage because that's basically what some of them are, although others weren't really battle damage, more of scars and heavy wounds, as you will see here. But anyways, let's get right into the figure. Now, compared to most of the battle damage dinosaurs, which I will show later in this review of the box, the Pachycepholosaurus is an odd choice, but I do love the idea of it. Now, the Pachycepholosaurus is well known in the Jurassic Park community as to be the headbutting dinosaur, even though some evidence don't suggest that they might have used them for headbutting, but that's another discussion for another day, or another video, or just look it up yourself on the internet. But anyways, the Pachycephalosaurus here is pretty good compared to most of the dinosaurs released for the battle damage. If I had to choose which one I would get, I probably would have got the Stiggy or Blue, but at the moment I could only find the Pachycephalosaurus, same Walmart where I got the Monolophosaurus and the Indoraptor. But as you can see here, the packaging is very similar to that of the Rorovores, with minor damages, or minor tweaks as to be exact. Wait, other way around. It has the battle damage wounds. Now, the battle damage series comes in a particular box art design that is pretty much slightly different compared to most of the main Jurassic World line. For starters, it's the very exact same as that of the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom toy line, which is a volcano or Mount Subo exploding in the background with a forest, and of course this cage design that they have here. Of course, they still have Owen and Blue on the side, and of course the Jurassic World logo of the Fallen Kingdom style. This is all cracked up instead of the gray and blue on it. But what makes the battle damage line much different than most of the boxes is that they have scratches with red markings, but they're just there, they're painted, they're not actual damages, but it also shows battle damage. Usually most of the dinosaurs in this line will show a little piece on how it works, but that's not. It's going to be here, it's going to be battle damage, and the battle damage are only exclusive to Walmart. On the side of the package is practically the same, with more scars and lines down at the bottom. And in the back of the packaging, you see a lot more of that. Of course, there's Pachycephalosaurus here with the active battle damage wounds. You see down here in the bottom, you see Blue, you see the Triceratops, the Herrerasaurus, and the Sticky Moloch, as you can see down here. And then that's basically it. There's the Pachycephalosaurus. It just tells you what the dinosaur is, and of course the battle damage, which is on the side of the body. There's also up here of the Mattel fact apps, which you could download and see for yourself on what you get. So I'm not going to let you do it here, since I rather want you to buy it and find it yourself than letting me show you, because what's the point of the scar damage basically is. But anyways, if you want to look for it, you can use the QR code here to look for this Packy yourself if you wanted to add it in your collection. And of course, the cute little Mattel and Universal logo down the bottom. So anyways, let's get this Packy out of its package. Now, the Pachycephalosaurus itself does not really have much of an action feature other than the battle damage. Something that most people would notice is that this one is very reminiscent to that of the Jurassic World website Pachycephalosaurus, and it is. It has very similar colorations and designs, though I do wish we did see this in the movie. Fortunately, we did not. I guess we got a small minor cameo with the Pachycephalosaurus, but in that picture the Pachy was pretty big, which I'm going to show during the comparisons. But either way, this Packy is an alright figure. with lots of sculpt and detail into it. And speaking of that, let's get right to it. Now the sculpt is phenomenal. There is another Pachy in the line, which I don't think they bear the same sculpt, but if they do, I'll show you what I'm right or wrong whenever I get it, or you can do a comparison picture with that of that self. But anyways, the sculpt is nice. It has this nice pebbled texturing throughout the body. And of course the underbelly is this nice little bit of lines down here. And you can see up here by the legs, the scaling from the toes go all the way up to the knee and along the same similar statue of that of the front arms. It also repeats on the top of the body as well. As you see, it ridges down and acts like this paint that goes all the way down near the tip of the tail, but not a lot. And the sculpt on the head is fantastic. The sculpt itself does reminisce that of the Pachycepholosaurus, which I'll get into comparison with some of the other figures. But anyways, the sculpt on the guy is pretty good, I can say myself. It's very nice, and the coloration from that of the online, the website, makes the Pachy look a bit much better in design and coloration. Now when it comes to articulation, there are very limited, but it's basically 5.5 PoE as most of the basic dinosaur figures and the battle damage line. Carnivores tend to have a jaw here, which makes it 6 points of articulation, but since it is a herbivore, it does not, so it has 5 points articulation. It has 2 on the legs, 2 on the arms, with 2 swivels, and 1 on the head. The legs could go back pretty far, although at some point, without the feature, it would hinder, and oh gosh, I don't know if you see that, but I would recommend not doing that, but I think I just scratched my figure. Oops. Okay, so don't bend your figures all the way back and all the way forward too much, because that scars it. That probably explains why my Baryonyx has some of those scars underneath his arms, which is kind of a shame too. It is a little quick note, but a little downfall with some of Mattel's dinosaurs is that it's not a completely hard plastic. It's pretty soft, and that does, you know, gives away some of the stuff. But anyways, let's get back to articulations. So the legs can go all the way back forward and as far forward without hindering too much. And just like the other dinosaurs, you can pivot the leg all the way in, but not too much, and it doesn't seem to lock in place. Other legs can do this very similar thing. It goes back that far without hindering too much to the sculpt, and it goes back or forward this much. And of course it does have the pivot as well, although it's not very strong as the other one. And then there's that of the arms. Now the arms can move all the way up, this far up. It looks kind of funny. And go all the way down, this far down. They can swivel all the way around the body, 360 motion, in both arms. I've already tried that. And then the head is on a sort of swivel ball joint in a way. It's not like an actual ball joint, it's very small, but it does have a swivel on the back of the head and the front, as you can see right here. And basically the Pachy can look up this far and look down that far. The angle sometimes looks weird in certain points, but otherwise it looks fine in certain shots and angles. The head can move all the way around, which I don't know why would you want to do that, but it works well when you want a Pachy looking at something, or maybe as in Toro too. Okay, let's look at the battle damage part of this figure. Now, as you can obviously see from the battle damage, it goes right here, on the Pachy's right side of his body, and basically it has a little notch right here to help you put it back in place. Basically, it's just like that of the old battle damage, which actually, for a moment here, I took the liberty to take it out for this review. This is my first Jurassic World figure from Mattel, or Hasbro, sorry. Mattel wouldn't allow me to do something like this. And here is the Inspirational Design that Mattel took from Hasbro, as you can see here. Now, if I had to point two things out on here, is that this has a much better sensitivity, as you have to push hard enough to get the battle damage to work, as you can see right here. Over here, I just had to lightly tap it. And it just, and it does that. Now, two difference I can see here is that this is a separate piece in the backside that would push down when pulling this forward. However, this is on a barrel, in a barrel sort of shape. So on the top, or would it be on the other side, would be the flesh and guts. But when you push it back up, it barrels down, as you can slowly see here. Get a better angle on that. As you can see, there is a seam line there, right in between where the barrel joint would go. I like to call it barrel joint, it sounds funny, but it goes back in place. This is too sensitive, but it actually has a nice smoothness to it, which basically hides it, along with the little notch right there that acts sort of like the backside. This, however, does not hide it very well, as this notch just seems out of place. And of course, you can obviously see the seam line there, which is more obvious, which is for something like that. But basically, you just push it hard enough, and it gets to the dino damage part, which, on my terms, is pretty good in my opinion, because, well, you could actually have herbivores dead on the ground, and a carnivore comes in and starts eating it. And this dinosaur works pretty well for that. Although getting a dino damage or battle damage piece hinders it from having, you know, the iconic Pachy bashing action, but luckily for us, we have a legacy figure that's gonna do that for us. But anyways, let's get right into comparisons. Here's a comparison of the Lost World, or basically Series 2, Pachycepholosaurus that was made by Kenner, with the sculpt being originated from 94 and then re-released in Lost World in 97. And of course eventually used on the Chaos Effect, which did not get released, the Chaos Effect Night Hunter Pachycephalosaurus. And like all the Pachys in the line, they all have a bashing action. Let's get this back to it. But luckily we have the legacy figure doing that for us. So if you want a Pachy that looks good, you know, for flesh and eating, you can take this one. But if you want the bashing one, you get the legacy one. It's your choice. And here's a comparison of the other Lost World Pachycephalosaurus, the big giant ramming one. And this is obviously one of my few favorites of the Pachycephalosaurus, although a bit too over large in my opinion. It's probably one of the few Kenner toys that are in scaled, or not in scaled with some of the human figures. But, you know, you make some exceptions. Kenner was more focused on being fun and playful. Hasbro was trying to do that too much and failed. And of course, Mattel is going on an easy route and just making more articulations and less action feature, which, in my opinion, is good for us JP fans. And of course, we have one that can't go with an iconic classic. Fire in the hole! Oh yeah! And here's a comparison of the attack action, or action attack, or battle action, or whatever you call it, blue figure. And of course, this scales up pretty nicely. Of course, blue scales up very nicely with that of the human figures. The Pachycephalosaurus, to some people, might not be in scale, but then again, the real-life Pachy would be much larger, as you can see here. So there's a lot of sketches of how Pachycephalosaurus should be huge. I feel like this one goes very well with the human figures and sketching and all that such. Much better than those of some of those wackier reconstructions of how Pachy should be sized of. And here's a comparison with the Pachycephalosaurus with the human action figures. And of course, this human action figure is that of Alan Grant. Now, in scale wise, these go out pretty well. Of course, like I said before, in the Lost World of Pachycephalosaurus is about right somewhere in the mixed section of his barrel chest. But overall, I feel like this scales up very nicely with each other. And if I had to say, I feel like this Pachy is pretty good enough in my opinion. I think a basic human figure could work well. And uh-oh, what do we have here? We have Roland Temple, here to reclaim the Pachycephalosaurus, or some of the other ones. Or should I say, the fatheads he's trying to get. So what score would I give the Pachycephalosaurus battle damage version? Well, I would give it a score of 3.5 out of 5. Now that sounds pretty low for a Pachy, especially this good. I mean, I did have some positives to it. It's based on the Jurassic World version. It has a nice articulation, it has nice sculpt, My only problem is that the battle damage, I feel like the red marking should do a bit better, and of course the battle damage piece should be a bit more tucked inside, like that of the Indominus Rex one. But if I had to say, you know, if I would recommend this, I would recommend if you want a Pachy in your series, if you can't find a Legacy one. If I had to choose over this one in the Legacy, I would probably get the Legacy. However, I did not find that in Walmart or Target, and I had to find this one, which in my opinion is alright. So yeah, this guy retails for basically $9, almost 10, and I would recommend it because these things go like $15 on eBay and such. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys liked this review. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.